Ladies and gentlemen. Hey, good thing tonight we're talking about another Spurs win. So tonight I've got Josh with me again. So Josh, how are you feeling after today's game?
It's pretty hard not to feel pretty rosy. It's a bank holiday weekend, and Tottenham have won. I mean, all of our rivals got the results they needed, and it was up to us to match them and do the same. Harry Kane now joint third. In fact, no, he is now. Is he now, or is he ahead of Andy
Cole? Top scorer because he's got 1, 2.
I think he's level with Andy Cole now. He needed that
penalty.
Yeah.
And
he would be ahead, so he's level, but he's ahead because he's done it in fewer games. So, smiles all round, really. What about you?
Well, I'm going to be a bit honest. I was quite skeptical about predicting us to a comfortable win today, and I felt parts of the game we got very lucky, including, Forest for me were very good. I thought they attacked us very well, but I felt like I was just watching the same game over and over again this season for the most part. That we're soaking up pressure, we're hitting on the counter, which isn't bad. I've nothing against that football. But is that kind of football sustainable over the full course of the season?
Sure. I think that there's a lot of that is to do with the fact that Romero is out. So he is our main ball-playing centre-back. So notice how we play out from the back a lot more when Romero plays. But when he isn't playing, we've got to play to our strengths, which is we've got the best front three, to play counter-attacking football in the league. There's no better attacking trio than our three, and so that's the thinking, I guess. But of course, again, there's a lot of things that still need to be worked on. It was far from perfect. I think that I think we might need to send out the RNLI to patrol to find a missing Son.
At least you've been obvious about it.
No, clearly, he's not up to the standard we need from him right now at all. Although I did think he had a better game than he's had in previous. Again, he was really, really poor. Again, at the back, I think I mentioned this to you just before we came on. I thought we defended really well as a unit, but individually, there was a lot of
you said that on WhatsApp. Still.
Exactly. And then I think the other thing to bear in mind is, we both knew, and we spoke about this before, Forest is a good side, and the City ground is a tough place to go. It's kind of up there with like St. James's Park and Anfield in terms of just an enormous electric atmosphere. And I mean, what can we say about the Forest fans? They were superb. I expected no less. I've been there a few times, and it's a cracking atmosphere, especially now they're in the Premier League. It's just up 2 or 3 gears as well. So, that all being said, they've got some very good players. And considering we played the same 11, both of us wanted a 3-5-2. And considering we went with the same 11 and the same things that we knew would happen did happen, again, 3 points, 2 goals for Harry. And actually on another day, we probably could have scored quite a few more goals. And I know clearly Forest on another day could have scored as well. But actually, how many really clear-cut opportunities did they have? Not many. So that we can be quite proud of. And I think that actually it's a good area to go into ahead of West Ham midweek and Fulham at the weekend. So obviously we've got 2 very big games coming up, London derby. We needed to be on 10 points at this stage because I think all of us would have taken a draw at Chelsea at the start of the season. And now we've got another 2 games where we really need to step it up, but clearly the level of performance has to be higher if we're going to go to West Ham and win. Because West Ham are truly. Do you know what? I've had the Fiorentina Napoli game on in the background, and the reason I just looked up is because our dream striker Victor Osimhen just put the ball in the back of the net. But
our dream striker, that's for sure.
No, I know. I mean, what a player he is. Yeah. But yes, overall, we can be satisfied. But clearly, I think it was good to see that Conte and Kane both were very open and acknowledging that the
Yeah.
performance wasn't where they want it to be. So that can only fill me with confidence. But again, Richie, amazing. What an assist that was.
I thought, what do you think of his QPRPs? Because a lot of people going mental over it. I quite liked it personally. I thought it was
I
just
absolutely loved it.
if you love
He is a
football, why don't you
wind-up.
love it? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
He is an absolute wind-up merchant.
Yeah.
Everyone will hate him except for us. He's that player. We knew what we were getting when we signed him. He's the player that if he's on your team, you absolutely adore him. And if he's not, you absolutely hate him, because I couldn't stand him when he was at Everton or Watford. I always knew he was a great player. But now he's come to us. Of course, I love him because he's doing that, that shithousery for us. And it's great to see. And
you know what? Like,
they summed it up well on Sky, didn't they? When they said if Gaza had done it, we'd be saying we love it. So, absolutely, I love it.
I think, because I don't know if you heard the commentator, Carragher was like, it's disrespectful, stuff like that. But you know what I mean? As in, do you remember back when they had Ronaldinho? I mean, saying they're both Brazilian, and he was doing tricks on the side, like doing turns, doing crazy tricks in the middle of the games. Football's meant to be enjoyable. And for me, the Richarlison thing is not like a big deal. Like, he was just doing some kippy-uppies. It's not like he was doing anything wrong.
No, absolutely.
So why is this made out to be as if it was?
The thing is, he only did like 3-4 keepy-uppies. Then then got the ball back, passed it again, and got kicked. And so, I think it was because the game wasn't over yet, and it was a bit of a piss take. But do you know what? I didn't mind it because we were 2-0 up, and we were at a point where I think we all knew that was the game done and dusted. If he ever tries doing that when we're not winning a game, though, we will be saying very, very different things about it. I think it's funny that it happened once, and I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't want to see him make it a regular, thing. That's for sure.
Like Richarlison, for me, I think he deserves to start on Wednesday. But
absolutely,
yeah. And like Son needs to be dropped for me because he just hasn't been good at all past 4 games. I just don't see. Like today when he came off, you could say he was really pissed off. But at the same time, I don't think he's justified to be like as pissed off as he was, because if he looks at how he played, he has no reason to say, look, I deserve to stay on, for me at least.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because when you see it on the cameras, how much of that is him angry at being substituted? I think he was disappointed at being substituted, obviously. He walked off the pitch. But there's also going to be an element of that frustration is exacerbated by the fact that he probably knows that his performance again wasn't good enough. And he came away without a goal or an assist. The things that he really, wants to add. The things that he was doing for fun last season. And it's what we all have come to expect and know and love from Son. It is those goals and assists and the energy. And, I thought he had a really good effort in the first half. I actually wouldn't blame him at all for shooting first time there on another day that goes in. And then we're maybe talking about a different thing. But even there was one moment, I think, where he was offside and he went one-on-one with the keeper. And it was...
Oh, yeah.
You've got to put that away, regardless of whether it's onside or offside. The flag was down at that point, and how on earth he didn't score that, is beyond me. And I was actually probably more frustrated about that one moment than any of the rest in that game. So, but at the end of the day, Richarlison looked great. I mean, that ball was something we've been missing. That bit of trickery, that technique, Quaresma-esque, outside of the right foot, to find Kane to nod it into an empty net. I thought Lloris had a superb game. I know that he parried the ball a few times, but actually there was one...
I thought he did quite well.
There was a save in particular that was superb where he did parry it out, but the shot came from the left-hand side about 35 yards out. Actually, I thought, what are you doing? And then when I saw the replay, it took a deflection and changed the direction of the ball with a lot of pace. So,
I thought he did well. I don't think
he had a very good game.
What do you think of the midfield too?
Superb as well.
What do you think of the midfield too?
Very good. very good. Still a few sloppy passes from both of them. But overall, yeah, I mean, at least it was probably a 7 out of 10 performance from both of them.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
I'd say maybe an 8 out of 10 for Bentancur and a 7 out of 10 for Højbjerg. And they were probably two of the highest rated players on the pitch. The only players that I would rate higher would be Richarlison, Kane, and Kulusevski. So
Kulusevski did a lot better this week.
Kulusevski was actually man of the match for me. I know
really?
Kane
I would have gone for Kane,
goal, but you don't want to take it off the goal scorer. But Kulusevski was our outlet. Every time we went forward with any danger, it was Kulusevski. So, you know, but there were also a few moments, I don't know if you noticed this as well, but Kane had the chance to shoot and he kind of just delayed a little bit and then in. Kulusevski did the same thing. There were a few times where you just thought, why not just have a shot on sight? But overall, we had quite a few shots. We had a lot of shots in the first half. We started off well, which I said, didn't I say, how crucial is that we score in the first 15 to settle the nerves and to kind of get beyond that atmosphere, which is a huge thing, a very daunting prospect where it's kind of so intense and the crowd are right on top of you at that pitch. It's really nice and tight to the pitch and, you know, all of that. So yeah, I think they handle the pressure well. And again, even though we weren't at our best, we won the game pretty comfortably and convincingly in the end.
I was going to say, though, the style of play we play, as you know, some people are saying it's not good enough. They don't enjoy the style. Do you think it's sustainable, or do you think we need to sign someone to change the style of play in some sense? Like, you know, because if you look at Conte's Inter Milan team, he had Brozovic, Barella, obviously he had Eriksen for a period.
We don't have the tools yet that he had at Inter. We've got perhaps some better individuals than he had at Inter. We've got Kane. We've got Son when he's firing. We've got amazing players. We've got Romero. You know, we've got some very, very, very good players. But the key to the Conte team is that third midfielder and the wing backs. Perisic is definitely that.
Yeah.
We're yet to see that on the right, clearly. I thought Emerson actually didn't have a bad game at all again today. He was quite good. But going forward, we know he can't do it. So Spence, it was interesting to see. I know he came on at right wing towards the end of the game, but I think at least we got to see a little cameo of him and we got to see just how dangerous he looks going forward, which is a good sign because the fact that he even got on the pitch today, which he hadn't in previous games, and he was in the squad, you know, clearly it's working. Whatever's going on with Conte,
he's done something. He must have done
something. He's earned his place in the squad clearly, and his fitness is getting better. So clearly, this is the start of him starting to be embedded into that team, which is really exciting. And I think we can all expect big things from Spence. And then it's just the midfield situation. I still think we lack some creativity in that midfield, in the centre of the park. Again, I mean, Bentancur was doing his pirouettes and his turns under pressure and some great passes. Højbjerg was a workhorse as always. But yeah, I mean, clearly, I think we don't have that can turn something out of nothing midfielder because we rely on Kane for that. So I think to get the best out of this team, that's still, you know, needed. And obviously a centre-back still.
I mean, centre-back for me is almost the paramount. I just don't see how we don't get centre-half.
But then arguably we've been really good defensively and we were solid today. So
as a unit, I think Conte's got them very well drilled. But if you look at them individually in terms of the difference of quality between our defence, for example, and like Liverpool's or even City's, you could say, I think the quality is quite...
We're not going to get there overnight, though. That's the thing. I think next season is the season we should be expecting that. This is all about, you know, closing the gap. And on the style of football, actually, I saw a tweet which really kind of riled me up. And it also made my belly hurt with laughter. I'd rather be losing 3-0 playing Poch's style of football.
What?
Yeah, it was,
I think
it was exactly worded. I'd rather lose 3-0 with Poch than win with Conte. With this football. And it just made me cackle.
What?
Like, first of all, you're an idiot. You don't go to games. And then his response was, I'm going to my first game next week. So Yeah, I mean, at least good on him. He gets to go to a game, but I mean, that was just
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
this style of football, as I said before, with Romero out, we are kind of limited because he's our main ball playing centre back, which is exactly why we need another ball playing centre back in there. Longley can do that, but most of his play I kind of see as, you know, long balls as opposed to, you know, the short game, but he can do that. So clearly, you know, it's not perfect, but it's effective, and that's the most important thing. Does it get you results? And what was the one thing that Sky did say about Spurs was we were amazing in both boxes. So if you're amazing in both boxes, the most crucial part of any Premier League match, you're defending solid, you're creating chances, and you're scoring goals. Does it matter so much what the style of play is? That's just an aesthetic bonus point, you know? But then I think back to the Southampton game, and some of the build-up play was some of the best football I've seen us play in years. So I think it's you know, much ado about nothing complaints about our style of football.
For the sake of it.
If results don't go your way, then I think it's a different conversation. But as long as we keep getting results, you know, I don't care. To be honest, I'll be blunt. I do not care as long as.
I mean, I'm the same, but I just think also it's more of a personnel problem rather than like a system problem for us because you can't play.
It's a squad issue, isn't it? It's having those players and those options, and we've got options in a lot of areas. Clearly, we're in a much better position than we have been, but these games are coming thick and fast.
I like to we need more Basuma.
Yeah. But he's obviously, we've got a midfield unit that's been very effective. So it's always going to be hard to break into that unless there's an injury. And then he earns his place that way. And then he plays really well in that time. And then whoever's injured is going to struggle to get back into the team. We know Conte does this. I said something about Jed Spence and Richarlison when we were on a stream. And I said, they'll be done by the 1st of August. I think I said I'd be done.
When was it?
They'd be done in the next 10 days and we'd have Richarlison by the time we go on our pre-season tour, and it happened.
I remember, yeah.
I will say the exact same thing now. We will have at least one new significant signing before the end of the window.
Are we talking last hour or?
Pardon?
Are we talking last hour? Do I have to stay up till 11 o'clock?
I think by the end of the transfer window, we will have made 2 important signings.
Hopefully.
Mark my words.
My words. So, because I was going to ask you, with Brian Hill seemingly on his way out, and then I saw a rumor this morning.
Reguilon done. Now
Reguilon's
that's been fixed up to Atletico.
There's a rumor this morning. I'm not going to say whose person told me because it was just on the stream that I was watching. That apparently there was a bid in for Lucas for 20 million from an unnamed club, and that might be a reason why he was left out. But we know Gil is on his way out, right? It's basically 99% done. Gattuso said that. Ironically, Gattuso, I know, talking about before. But do you think they're going to sign some replacement?
Okay, so I could see Lucas playing in Roma, perhaps, or in Italy. I don't know who the club is. I don't really want to speculate, but I could see him playing. I don't know who the
club is. So,
personally, I think he'd be fantastic there. But if 20 million comes in for Lucas Moura at this stage in his career, I think the club has to accept the offer because realistically, at this point in his career, he's not got many years left. Perhaps he's going to want to just go out and play football and do what he loves. And I think that's the difficult decision there. And I think he's probably had his head turned if there is a bid. I don't know that to be true. I'll do some digging and see what I can find afterwards. But
Gil's
20 mil for him is a lot. And I think actually, if you can take 20 million in the bank and get rid of Lucas Moura, I love him and I love everything he's done for the club. But realistically, I think that works for both club and player. And then that will really free us up to sign one of the players that we're going to sign before the end of the window.
ASM after today's goal.
That's not going to happen.
Today's goal. Did you see it?
ASM is untouchable. But
did you see this goal today?
I did. Superb. I mean, absolutely
Insane.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And same with Ruben Neves, who again is another midfielder that would add lots to Spurs. But I will not say on the stream who I think that's going to
Oh
be.
no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just
I will.
like
I will
obviously,
tell you. I will tell you off the
yeah.
stream.
But like Brian Gill, for example, is leaving.
Anthony
And I
Gordon.
think Conte said he wants a replacement. So
Yes, I don't know if you heard what I said in between my coughs. Then,
yeah.
I think it might be a certain player that plays in the Premier League that is a hot prospect that scored this weekend.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Um,
I'm not going to say a name, but as in, because I know one player that no one really.
What, Anthony Gordon?
No. The one player that keeps coming up in everyone's discussions is Adama Traore. I'm not asking you whether you think he's coming or not, but would he be someone that you'd take, for example? Because I'm not a fan of Adama Traore.
Played with this because I haven't been a fan of him, but
I haven't either. But I know Billy is.
Does he add something completely different to our attacking line? Absolutely. Does he run past players? If we're behind in a game and we need something different, if we can't break down a team because they're playing a low block and we need someone to shit up defenders by running at them, is he going to do that? Absolutely. So, and he scored in midweek as well. So that's a positive. So, and again, he's not starting for Wolves. So, yeah, I mean, you've got to ask the question, why is he not starting? Again, there were questions about Wilf Zaha because he didn't play.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that
didn't want to be drawn about questions about his future. So maybe there's something in that. I would be surprised if Spurs didn't go in for Anthony Gordon.
But I think he's going to Chelsea, isn't he?
I don't think it's happening yet. It may well happen, but no deal's been agreed to my knowledge.
Interesting. Because like there was like a list of wingers. It was like ASM, Anthony Gordon, that Ukrainian guy who I can't say his name, so sorry for that, and Traore were the four I think we were linked with the most.
Yes.
Obviously, because Gill's on his way out, and Conte said if we let someone go, we have to replace them. So, but then if Lucas goes as well, don't we have to replace two?
Yes, because Conte wants a replacement for
both of them.
For both. But maybe you cut your losses on one to buy a pretty special talent.
Yeah.
But you know, we've obviously got the window coming up, and West Ham's going to make things really interesting. So I wouldn't expect anything to happen on that day, which means I think that it's going to be a particularly massive transfer window, all in all.
A massive window in the last 4 days.
Did I say massive window? I mean massive deadline day.
I think okay, all right, okay.
It's going to be an absolutely ridiculous deadline day, I think.
So I need to be on my phone, Sky Sports, streams, Twitter open.
Absolutely.
Refresh.
I'm going to be talking to all the journalists I know, seeing what bits of information I can find as well. And sharing updates as and when I can. I'm meant to be flying out to Italy on that day. So,
is Paratici's office or not?
Well, who knows? Maybe, maybe I might spot a player coming to England at the airport in Naples when I land, because I'm leaving at 7:10 in the morning. So that's when I fly.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to be there at about 11 o'clock. So by the time I land in Naples, about 10:30, 11, who knows? Maybe we might see a player at the airport ready to move to the Premier League.
Bastoni on the last day. I don't think that's going to happen. But
no, I mean, I can confirm, by the way, that Hakim Ziyech was offered to Spurs.
I know. Yeah. I really wanted him personally.
Well, it's not happening. And I can also confirm that Japhet Tanganga is on the verge of joining AC Milan on loan. So
I thought that deal was off because he was on the bench today.
No, that's on the verge. That's on the verge of happening, I've heard. So
Just double checking. You're allowed to say this, yeah?
No.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
from the things I've heard and seen,
yeah.
that one is potentially one to be resurrected. When I say it's on the verge means on the verge of potentially coming to an agreement, which is quite loose. So when I say on the verge, it's one that's on the verge of having some movement.
It's in the oven, basically.
I think it's on the tray and it's
So
been
it's not
put
in the
in
oven yet.
the oven.
Okay.
It's in the oven, but the oven hasn't been turned on.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it could still be taken out the oven when
Okay.
you notice a bit of mold on it or something. So,
Yeah. Add some sort of icing or something on the cake.
well, exactly. So I'm not going to say that I think it's going to happen because actually my gut feeling is I don't think it will happen, but it looks like it's on the verge.
Again, if Tanganga goes, won't we need a centre half?
Yeah, of course. But I think Tanganga, because of deadline day, I think Tanganga would be more likely to move to the Premier League, to another Premier League club.
I think it'd be better off suited just going out on loan to a Premier League club for a year or two.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
that's
come
what
back.
I'm thinking.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think Tanganga's ready to make an impact now, but I think he's got attributes to be, at least on paper for me, a good right-sided centre half. And then I don't see him as a wing back personally. I mean, I could be wrong, but if you look at Sanchez's age in a couple years, maybe we could get rid of him. And Tanganga,
Sanchez is still young. He's only 25
is he?
or 26. Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I thought he was older because he's been at Tottenham for quite a while. But yeah, like as in for me, Tanganga, that would be his position. I don't see him playing in the middle of the three. I don't see him playing on the left. I know he could probably play there at a push, but
Sanchez is 26 years old. He's got plenty of time.
oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's whether we want to sell Sanchez for a good fee, but I think positionally he was quite poor today, but actually all in all had a pretty solid game. He's done what he's needed to do. We've got to be honest with ourselves here, right? Romero out the team, it's a disaster. We're screwed. 2 games, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets.
It's okay. It's okay. But what would we do if we had Dyer out, for example? Longley would play in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, I do you know what? Weirdly, I worry far less about Dyer being injured than Romero, because
I know.
again,
I'm just saying because obviously,
Sanchez can step in, and Sanchez is good in the air. So
I think as a defensive player, as in we're talking like straight up, as in him just just being heading the balls out or kicking balls out, like
winning
we're
tackles.
talking like the very standard things. He's very good at. It's just that if you're playing a system like this, you're more implying, because for me, Davies does a bit more of this, where he plays out the ball better. He drives maybe.
My
Sanchez
issue,
doesn't have those attributes. At least I've not seen
sure.
them.
My issue, but his passing and his clearing was quite good. I think my issue with him is positionally when he gets caught out,
Yeah,
he
he's
gets outrun by a player and then has to rely on his pace to make a recovery. And that's a very, very dangerous game to play, because if that's Erling Haaland doing that, it's a goal. So yeah, it's fine for now. It's not a long-term solution. Sanchez needs to, improve on that for sure.
So do you think Romero is going to be back for Wednesday or not?
I haven't heard anything, so I couldn't possibly tell you. But
because I know he said, I saw this on Twitter. Apparently, he told the staff that he's ready to play against Forest. Obviously, they didn't play him. But do you see him making a miraculous recovery?
Maybe. I think he'll be in the squad, but who knows?
He's not going to start. Yeah. So looking at we've got the wing backs, the centre halves. So the attackers, obviously, like we spoke about Son briefly, but I was going to mention, do you think that Son's issue is partly because, so when Son joined initially, teams were less wary of his danger, right? And obviously after last season, he finished top scorer. Do you think teams are double and tripling up on him compared to before? And the only reason I bring this up is because there was a transition, or whatever you want to call it. When he got the ball, he tried running like straight in a straight line in like the middle of the field, and suddenly there were like 2-3 Forest players just closed him off. I think it was near the beginning of the game.
Yes. No, I mean,
I'm not defending his performance because I don't think he's played well. But do you think it's a symptom of a system thing, or like the fact
no,
he's so
you're gonna
recognised?
get that because you're a fantastic player. That's
Yeah,
it. You know, it doesn't change that he's.
not played well. So
Well, this is it. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I've just seen a tweet. Someone,
right.
Daniel Levy, walked past someone.
I saw this. Was it
A
Gareth?
selfie
Was
with
it
him.
Gareth's tweet?
Hilarious.
Is it Gareth's tweet? When he takes a picture with him, is it?
It was Saul. Conte at the wheel, N17_Saul, just in the last half an hour, which is quite hilarious.
Conte or Levy? Because there's a picture of Levy as well I've seen today. Gareth.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was another one, but...
And apparently he asked him, are we signing one? He goes, we'll see or something.
Yeah, of course, but...
He's not going to say, yeah, we're signing Adama by late deadline.
It's not necessarily Adama. There's plenty of other players that we could sign. I
hope it's not Adama.
I think we're going to get blindsided.
It'll be someone completely out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think we're going to be absolutely blindsided.
Like Messi's coming to N17. You heard it here first.
No, definitely not Messi, but...
So, looking to West Ham now. So, are you going into the game more confident than before after today, or are you less confident? Because for me, I know we won 2-0, and I'm slightly a bit more confident than I was last game. But I'm still quite worried that West Ham will turn up against us like massively on Wednesday, and we'll get unstuck.
Well, they won today, didn't they? They weren't convincing West Ham, but they won today, and that's crucial. They've just qualified for Europe. They've won back-to-back games, and they're playing at home, and it's always a tough place to go. A ground that we've, got a bit of an inconsistent record at. West Ham love to turn it up and win 1-0 against us. So, yeah, I mean,
it's never an easy game.
I think we'll be fine. I'm confident that we'll get a result. Do you know what? I think we'll do it. I think we'll get a result, but the level of performance has to be a lot higher. So, as long as that happens, and I think Richarlison starting would be a big call. I can't see it though, but it's a midweek game, so maybe actually that would be the time to do it. So, if Richarlison starts, definitely we beat them. If not, we still most probably beat them. Worst case scenario, I think we draw the game, but I can't see that. I think we'll win. Whether we keep a clean sheet or not, I don't know. It's going to be a very nervy game with a lot of needle, a lot of aggression, a lot of tension, but they really care about us, and we couldn't care less about West Ham. So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna have a bit of fire. It's gonna have sparks, and I'm all here for it. It's gonna be good fun, and I think we'll get a result. I do. What about you?
For me, West Ham is always a tough game. I don't think we ever played them and ever completely walked over them. For me, I mean, you look back in the past, obviously, when we just about beat them, when we had Bell scored that goal, the Stalteri goal. Mourinho's first game was away to West Ham. I don't think people remember this. And we're 3-0 up. We can see the 2 goals. We almost fucked the game up. Yeah. And then we played them at home. We drew 3-3 afterwards. I know we beat them on the Conte last season at home. But again, that was a game where we just about won.
Oh, I thought we were really good.
We played well, but I didn't ever feel completely convinced that we were going to win the game. But I think West Ham also, the fact that their form for me is actually been bad this year, apart from the past couple of games, kind of points to me that there's even more conviction for them to turn up against us on Wednesday to prove a point to their fans. And with the additions of someone like Scamacca. Yeah, exactly. It's the same with Chelsea.
They hate us, so they'll turn up. There's more in it for them. So,
got Jared Bowen, who I was watching a stream the other day, and
he's been in terrible form.
You just know he's going to turn up on Wednesday. Obviously,
But
Skamaka,
you should
new
always
signing.
go. Yeah, but you should always go into those games expecting them to turn up and expecting every one of their players to be fit and firing. They're not going to train West Ham and then expect, oh, Son's been pretty terrible in the last few games. He's going to be terrible against us. Because when you do that, Son will go and score a hat-trick. So you can't be that naive. Both teams know the qualities that each other possess. Both sets of managers and the groups of players will be very, very aware of, the importance of the game, importance of getting a result, but also, just how good the oppositions are, them to us and us to them. So these are the types of games where, this for me now is the biggest game of the season. I'm going to say that a lot on these streams. The next game is the biggest game of the season because it is. No, but this is clearly, it's got a bit more to it, doesn't it? And I think as much as I said we don't care about them, we kind of do,
You can't not care about them. It just
no,
means
exactly. It's a game that, tempers will flare. I think Richarlison to wind them up would be brilliant in that atmosphere.
Oh God, he's going to.
We know what it all means. We know what it all means. It's just one of those that it's going to be who's the fitter side, who's got the better squad, and I think we tick all those boxes.
It's just like for me, West Ham, like someone like Barama, I consider dangerous. Lanzini is historically good against.
They've got a superb squad.
Yeah,
we know this. They've got a good squad. Jared Bowen's dangerous. Antonio can be dangerous. Fornals,
he always scores against us, doesn't he?
Player.
I think Antonio always scores against us. Am I wrong?
He does. And so does Lanzini, but Fornals is a tremendous player as well, and he's very underrated.
Souček, is it Souček, the other one they got?
Yeah, Souček's good.
Declan Rice,
we know is brilliant.
It's class.
Soufal at right back, I think, is a superb right back. It'd be interesting to see whether they can get the Paqueta deal done in time.
You know what? I was talking to someone about this before. If they sign Paqueta, it's going to be like an extra, like.
Oh, he's superb.
Yeah,
he's brilliant.
They could play midfield three of potentially because they play 4-2-3-1. I think most of the time they could even play like Bowen up front and then play like Paqueta, Lanzini, and Barama as a three behind. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if we're talking theoretically here, I mean, that's options.
Well, no, I mean this is it. So, I think Frankie De Jong is set to join
Chelsea. Is he going Chelsea?
Chelsea. I don't know if the deal's been officially
agreed. Is Aubameyang moving forward?
No, that deal's off over wages.
Because I thought it was a done deal last week, to be honest.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what Chelsea does because they need a striker.
Do you know what? I've just seen Frankie De Jong is staying today, actually, in the last couple of hours.
Gosh, that saga's been going on for months.
Yeah. I'm hearing that Chelsea are now talking to Wilfried Zaha, which would be perfect for him.
I've seen that as well.
I hate him and I hate Chelsea.
So perfect fit. Perfect fit.
Yeah, I think Zaha will leave Palace this window. I think this will be the one.
He's been trying to leave for years.
Yeah, and I think he's stayed and became the captain, but he's got to try something new, otherwise he's always going to be a player that is considered very good at the mid-table clubs, but a failed big team player.
Because he hasn't really... Wait, Zaha was at United, wasn't he?
And he was, and he got sold, and it didn't work when he was very young. So this is my point. It's going to be one of those that, he needs to prove it to himself that he is good enough to play for these sides, which I think he is.
I think you won't know until he goes there to see what happens. But do you think that means that Chelsea is going to go to a more, I hate this narrative, but false nine?
Well, I think Arsenal have also been linked with him. Listen, what I'm hearing and the noises that I am hearing is that Tottenham could very well hijack the Anthony Gordon deal. He would be very, very keen to come to Tottenham, as well as Chelsea. I think Tottenham is a place where he may be more likely to get some minutes as well. I can't see Gordon wearing the number 9 shirt at Chelsea and starting up top every game.
No.
So I think Tottenham would be a great fit for him. It would be back to Tottenham doing what Tottenham does best and what I love Tottenham doing, which is buying tremendously talented youngsters who are already ready to step into that team and do it, whilst also having the time on his side to develop into an even better player. So I love when Spurs do this. It's it would be a bit of a throwback signing for Spurs in some ways.
It's like Martin Joel era.
Yeah, and a bit like Harry Redknapp era as well at times as well. So I think that I can see that one happening, actually. That would be a big money move. He can play on the right, he can play on the left, he can play in the middle. He's got the ability to do all the things that Conte wants out of an attacking player. And I think that that's perhaps a more attractive option than Chelsea.
He'll get more game time with us, I think.
Also, Daniel Levy wants to piss off Chelsea. Daniel Levy absolutely wants to piss off Todd Bowley. Yeah, for him to get one over Chelsea would... You forget, for all the criticism we rightly give to Daniel Levy, we cannot deny his passion for the club and his love of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Even though I don't think he's a footballing man, he's a businessman. He has been at the club for ages. He was a Tottenham supporter before he bought the club. And he's at all the games, There are loads of chairmen that, the Liverpool owners aren't at every game. Daniel Levy is, and his son is. And he hates Chelsea just like the rest of us. So absolutely he'd love to do that.
But I'm saying, as in, because you're letting Gil and Lucas go, say Lucas goes, you're going to have to bring 2. So you'd have to bring like Gordon and like Ziyech or something. I don't know.
Maybe, but I think actually that frees up then space to go for a slightly different type of player. I just think that actually, if Gordon comes in, I think we sign one more. I do think we sign a defender, but I think it's a completely left field, unexpected move.
What, centre-half or Gordon?
No, a centre-half.
It'll be someone we haven't thought of, you think?
Someone we haven't thought of or haven't been linked with for a while. Maybe Pau Torres. Someone like that.
All right. I'm not a massive Pau Torres fan, I have to admit.
No, but not when you compare it to Gvardiol and Bastoni, but he's a very good player. I can see us going for a player we were linked with a while ago or completely left field choice.
I always find with Tottenham, I don't know if you noticed this, but for example, with someone like, who was it? I mean, Ziyech's a good example for me because when he was at Ajax, we were linked with him. And then now we're linked with him again. Richarlison for me, because obviously he's signed now. When he was at Watford under Pochettino, we were linked with him. When he was at Everton under Pochettino, we were linked with him. And obviously, eventually now under Conte, we sign him. So there must be long-term interest from Tottenham in like a lot of players for me.
I know, absolutely. Tottenham definitely do plan early now with Paratici. I can see us going for someone slightly left field. And by the way, what a signing Renan Lodi will be for
Forest,
Nottingham Forest. And that is exactly why Reguilon's coming in, which is a great move for him, isn't it? Think about the fact that it's only a loan as well. I still think Reguilon could be a good player for Spurs.
I like Reguilon still, to be honest. I prefer him to Sessegnon, but let's not get into that debate because...
No, I'm so bored of the wing-back debate.
Yeah. So going back to West Ham, match prediction for Wednesday. I know we're playing the first midweek game, aren't we now? So
you know the drill at this point.
You're not
Tottenham.
going to give me a score. Tottenham.
I said
win.
Tottenham winning a clean sheet about Forest, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I said Wolves winning a clean sheet, which means I'm going to go for Spurs win, no clean sheet.
No clean sheet. Oh, interesting. See, I'm saying
Because if I say Spurs winning a clean sheet again, you know what's happening. We're losing the game. So I'm going to go Spurs win, but we will concede.
See, I think 2-1 Tottenham.
Which is what you go for every single time.
Yeah, I know, because I'm no confident we're going to win by like 2 or 3 goals still.
I don't think we'll win by 2 or 3 goals. I don't think we'll win by 3 goals, but maybe by 2 goals.
It's like 3-1, something like that.
4-2, 3-1, 2-0, 1-1, 4-0
I know
loss.
1-1's, I think, a big possibility in a game like this.
No, I think Spurs win, no clean sheet.
Okay, so like 3-2 maybe, or 4-2 or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Who knows?
Okay, all right. So it's been great having you on again, Josh, and come on, you Spurs.
Up the Spurs.